Once you're set.
Okay. I'd like to call the meeting of the Social Services Committee to order. First, we'll start with calling the roll. Council.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fine,
Here.
Simpson,
Here.
Bruschi, Cleary,
Here.
Smith,
The
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Lockhart,
Here.
McLaughlin, Curley,
Here.
and Chapman.
Here.
7 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, first order of business is approving the previous meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion, Ms. Lockhart. Second,
Second.
with a second. Mr. Purley, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass unanimous. Okay, now on to current business. Number 2, authorizing an agreement with the Research Foundation for the State University of New York regarding the New York State Supervision and Treatment Services for Juveniles program. Commissioner Manning. You're on mute.
Good evening, Chairman and committee members. The department would respectfully request legislative authorization to go into our contract with the Research Foundation at SUNY Albany. They have been working with us to really be looking at the juveniles that are getting arrested and involved in the juvenile justice system, and also looking at, placement data as well, looking at non-secure and secure detention and the reasons for the arrest and charges. So we would like to continue that contract.
Thank you. And are there any questions? We have a motion to approve. A motion, Mr. Cleary. Second. We have a second.
Second. I'll second it.
Second, Mr. Purley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Pass unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
my apologies, but I just wanted to ask the commissioner something on that, if it's
no
okay.
problem.
My apologies.
Yes,
I
please
didn't
go
get
ahead.
I didn't get my mute off quick enough. Commissioner, the research that you get back on these, because I know they do a number of different researches for us in different areas.
Yes.
Do you forward them can you forward them to the committee
Absolutely.
so that we can see them?
And they're currently looking at much deeper dive into the Raise the Age youth as well. That's not completed yet, but I do have ongoing data related to that, and I can send it to Chairman Fine.
This one and the Raise the Age particularly, I was interested in. But anytime, I think that when we have these, SUNY does a lot of research for us, especially in the area of social services and stuff. I think it would be beneficial for us to actually see those research papers,
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to miss my mute button there.
That's okay, no problem. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, on to number 3, authorizing an agreement with Cayuga Centers regarding the provision of parent partner services.
Thank you. The department wishes to go into a contract with Cayuga Center for parent partner services. These services, as SUNY Albany as well, are through the STSJP, through the Office of Children and Family Services. So it's New York State Service and Treatment Services for Juvenile Justice. And basically, the parent partner are family members who have experienced challenge in the system. It could be with child welfare, it could be with mental health, it could be probation, but that they've advocated on the behalf of their own children and know what a challenge it is to, be involved in systems. And so they have been providing the parent partner services since last year. And really, we've been focusing them on the children that have a PINS petition, because as the legislation has changed regarding PINS, those children can no longer get access to family court or go into placement. So it created a void and a gap in services, and this services has helped to fulfill those needs of those children and families.
Thank you. And, do we have any questions? Mr. Bruschi?
Chairman, I just want to note that I'm here. I had some Zoom problems getting in. And
Okay,
it seems like a very worthy cause. Actually, I did have a question is, how are we measuring success with this program? Is it, it's just quantitative, how many people are in it, or is there a qualitative metric for how the children do in the program?
Right. Well, they wouldn't further penetrate the system. So they wouldn't be identified either getting involved in, say, more delinquent behaviors. We also focus on, there's many children that have a PINS related to truancy that we really work with the school districts and get the children back to school and identify what is the barrier to get them to school on a regular basis. It could be that they need to be identified through the Committee on Special Education. It could just be that they're having trouble with peers, or that they need self-regulation skills. So those are all things that they provide. But in addition, it also has shown to decrease the amount of parent stress that they are under due to the parenting.
Thank you.
thank you. Are there any other questions from the committee?
Make a motion to move it.
Motion, Ms. Lockhart, second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Pass unanimous. Great. Number 4, authorizing preschool education service agreements for children with special needs, ages 3 through 5. Commissioner?
Yes, basically, these are center-based programs that provide services to children that are 3 to 5. These children have been identified through our evaluation team or any of these community evaluation teams to have a developmental delay, and therefore are in need of a center-based program that will provide services to them, which would include occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech. And basically, the county is responsible, municipalities are responsible through state ed to provide these services. And, it's based on their IEP, their individualized educational plan through the school district. So they go in front of the CPSE, and then Albany County is responsible for ensuring that they get the service that they're in need of. So these are all the center-based programs that we utilize.
Thank you, Commissioner. See a question from Ms. Lockhart.
Commissioner, just to refresh my memory, are all these providers, they're certified by the state, but then the state also sets their fee for us, right? We don't set it, it's not an RFP or anything. And
No,
so
it's
those
set, and
are the choices.
and it's the following year. So basically, they
Correct.
did put in a 5% increase because I know they're advocating, many groups are advocating for a higher rate. So
Right.
we don't know what that will be,
Right.
but we have buffered it in.
And the parents have a say on which provider too, within the, scope of what they need therapeutic wise.
Absolutely. It's
Correct.
driven by the family. They could be given different options, but dependent on the need, some programs are more specialized than others.
Yeah, important program. I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll
Thank
make
you.
a motion, Mr. Chairman, if there's no other questions.
Motion, Ms. Lockhart. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Chapman. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Pass unanimous. Okay, number 5, authorizing an agreement with Spotted Zebra Learning Center regarding individualized education programs for children's ages 3 to 5.
Thank you. Yes, Spotted Zebra's Learning Center provides related services as well to the children. And again, it is off of their IEP plan, and it includes occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy.
Thank you. And are there any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Mr. Cleary. Do we have a second?
second,
Second, Ms. Chapman. All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye. Passed unanimous. Okay, number 6, authorizing an agreement with Interfaith Partnership for the Homeless regarding emergency and transitional shelter services. Commissioner McClave,
Yes, good evening.
good evening.
I'm not sure which interfaith you have. There's 2 interfaiths. I'm not sure which one you have as
This
first.
looks like it's the one on South Ferry.
Okay, that was out of different order. I just wanted to say regarding there's 5 contract renewals for homeless shelters that I'll be presenting tonight, and we're asking for all 5 of them to be moved from a 1-year contract to an 18-month contract for one time. So they normally go from July 1, 20, it would be July 1, 22 to June 30th, 23. We're asking for them to go from July 1 to December 31st, 23, so that we can get them all on calendar year, as opposed to 2 half years. And that is in alignment with the county budget and is in alignment with the way that the state looks at the shelter budgets. They are asking the shelters for calendar year budget. So for all of these it'll be a higher figure than normal, because we're asking for an 18-month budget for one time, and then we'll go back to 1-year budgets after that, 1-year contracts after that.
Okay. I see
Chairman?
Cleary has a question.
No, can we group all 5 together?
I don't see why not. Also, can we group all 5 together?
I believe so, Brandon, unless I missed it.
I'll second it.
Need to make, yeah.
Who's made the motion, Mr. Cleary?
So
Group
moved.
number, what, 6
Second.
through 10?
Great. Do we do
I'll
all?
make a
all-
motion to
we
approve.
vote all in favor of grouping all 5 together, 6 through 10?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, now they're all grouped together. We haven't yet voted on them, correct? Okay, so does anyone have, or Commissioner, could you give an overview of these 5 resolutions now that they're all grouped together?
Now, these are continuing contracts with shelters that we've had contracts with for multiple years before I started here. So they're long-term providers of services, emergency services to homeless individuals. Just to note that there are 2 family shelters. One is Skylar Inn, run by the Altamont program, is primarily families, and that has 60 rooms. They also do some individuals depending on our needs and the need of the client. And Marillac Shelter, which is a more intensive, longer term shelter for families as well. The other 3 are 4, really. Catholic Charities has 2 shelters of 19 beds each. One is for males, one is for females. And Interfaith has a shelter on Sheridan for 30 individuals, and they have moved what used to be the Morton Avenue shelter run by Spark. They took that over, I guess, last year. And they moved that 11-bed shelter to their Ferry Street location, where they also have a medical respite. So
Okay,
that's an overview.
thank you. Does this cover all of the shelters? These 5 contracts are all of the shelters that the county has contracts with?
Yes, these are, well, the only other missing one is the medical respite that is run by IPH, which is at the Ferry Street location, but that is an as-needed contract that we have. It's up to $98,000. So it's, we don't contract for all the beds there. We just contract as needed. I mean, we just use it as needed.
Okay, thank you. And I see Mr. Purley has a question.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm just not certain that you secured a second to Mr. Cleary's motion. And if that's the case, then I would be happy to second it.
I thought we
His
were
motion to
gonna
group them all
check with
together.
Council.
Brandon, did you get, I was gonna ask
sorry.
Brandon because I did not hear a name. You're correct, Mr. Curley.
I second it.
Okay, are we all set, or do we have to do another vote on this?
I-
Are we good?
Best practice is do another.
Okay, all in favor of grouping resolutions 6 through 10?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolutions 6 through 10 are grouped together, just in case they weren't before. Mr. Cleary,
I'll make a motion to approve the group.
motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Got a few seconds there. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oppose? Okay, passed unanimous. Okay, next on the agenda, number 11, amending resolution number 96 for 2021 regarding the emergency rental assistance program.
Yes, we're requesting approval to do a no-cost extension with United Tenants of Albany to complete the work under the contract, a subcontract that we had with them for the emergency rent assistance program. This is federal funding that came through New York State, and we subcontracted with UTA. They hadn't spent. The contract originally was expire on 3/31/22. We can have an additional 6 months from the state to spend this funding. It's only 17,000 that they have left to do, left to spend. And we could use their help in talking to people about what their rights are under URAP and keeping track of people's application in the URAP system. So we're just asking for the extension till the end of September.
Thank you. And is there more funding that has come into the URAP system? Because last I heard it had run out completely.
Right, all of it has been designated from the federal level, but in the most recent budget that was just passed by New York State, there apparently is additional $1 billion in ERAP funding from state ERAP funding. This is not, it would be run by the state. So we have heard nothing specific about how it's going to be implemented and what the application process is going to be and all of that. So we're waiting to hear from New York State how they're going to implement that and spend it. And we're hoping most of it doesn't go to New York City, that we get some of it.
Okay, well, I'm glad there's some more money coming in. And is that the reason for this extension? That
No, we would have asked for this extension anyway, just because we need to wrap it up. We need to make sure that our clients are getting, if they applied and they were eligible and they were supposed to get funding, that they get it. And that they're not getting evicted unless if they have an application in. At this point, they're not supposed to be evicted if they have an ERAP application in.
okay. Thank you. Ms. Lockhart?
I'm a little confused by this because my understanding is that there is no more money. So they're just having them apply so they can prevent them from being evicted. So there's
That's
like.
not, yeah, I mean, you can do that,
Go
but
ahead.
that's not what UTA is doing. They're working with the people who have already made an application in to
Okay.
continue to track their application and make sure, follow up if they hadn't been paid, be the intermediary and track their cases.
So this isn't for new applications, it's for people that already had them in and they're just working to help them get through the system? Is that what you're saying?
And yes, and to watch their applications.
Right, but not take new applications.
I mean, I cannot tell any citizen that they are not allowed to apply. They are still allowed to apply, but this is not the purpose of what UTA is doing. They could do it on their own.
How could they apply if there's no program money?
That there was a lawsuit that was put that was that the state lost, and they were told they were instructed that they had to keep the portal open.
Oh, okay. I've read some things in the paper and I'm, no offense to you, Commissioner, I'm still confused. By
It's
the
very
pro-
confusing.
Okay, good. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you. for
Well,
that.
and our hope is that with this new state funding, that they're just going to apply it to the current applications.
So
They have
you
more
think-
applications than funding right now. So
Mhm.
hopefully they'll apply the state funding to the current applications.
Yeah, because theoretically, if the money's never there, if there's not new money and people keep, and all it does is stop the process of evictions, then that means the landlords are longer and longer in debt, not getting their money. Right? I mean, that's a problem,
Yeah.
On the other end of it. Okay, thank you.
So I just want to confirm if, there's $1 million $1 billion in the state budget, assuming some of that comes to Albany County, there may be an opportunity for more people to apply and be approved for that funding, correct?
And Mr. Chairman, I read, and I know what you're saying, but I'm also reading that nobody's saying there is really money in the budget that's gonna go there. I mean, I don't see anything definite in the budget, that the money that came for URAP, that's it. And yeah, we can hope. And I mean, that's okay. That's okay. If there is, there is. But we just don't want it. It's not forever. You can't just be on hold forever, waiting. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm just confused by the process. It's not, not the idea. It's just
And
landlords have to pay the bills too, to keep the place open so people can live there.
I think we're all confused by the process right now.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
I can say that we have about 5,000 applications in from Albany County. So
wow.
we have and about half of those have been paid. So we still have a good number of people that could be paid that appear to be eligible. So if there is additional funding, hopefully they will get paid.
Okay.
And are there any other questions from the committee?
Just gonna say that, I intend to support this going out to the floor for a vote, but I'm still leery of it. I'm not quite sure. I want to do some further research before I decide on the floor.
Okay. So do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Mr. Cleary, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Simpson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed unanimous. And number 12 on the agenda, the last item, authorizing an agreement with CARES Inc. regarding reimbursement for emergency homeless shelter services for COVID-infected or quarantined homeless individuals and families. Commissioner?
Right, we're just asking for permission to enter into an agreement with CARES to continue paying for getting reimbursement for hoteling and moteling and feeding folks who are homeless, who are COVID positive in quarantine or isolation. And we had an original contract with them for $100,000. We're close to expending that. So this will just give us a little more funding. Hopefully we won't need much more than this, but it's ticking up again. But it's just additional funding to help with the COVID housing the homeless people with who are COVID positive.
Thank you, Commissioner. And are there any questions? Ms.
Commissioner, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, do we have specific motels or places that we're contracting with to place these people, because of the COVID?
We have a long list of, not long, a list of hotels, motels that take our clients.
Okay.
And we're using them on a rotating basis,
So
right
the same
now.
ones that you might, place a homeless person in. There's not a
Correct.
different separate setup for these folks, right?
No, we try to keep them together because we have to check in on them and that kind of thing. So, it's easy when there's only two people, but when it gets to be 10 or 20, which we've had,
Right.
we got to spread it out.
Mhm. All right, thank you, Commissioner.
And are there any other questions? Do you have a motion to approve? Mr. Bruschi, was that a motion? Mr. Bruschi,
Second.
motion to approve. Do we have a second?
second,
Second from Ms. Chapman. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Pass unanimous. And that's everything on the agenda. So do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
motion,
Second?
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.